Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the L1 show. We're doing business and security today, which is December. Did I say December 18th already? It's December 18th.
I don't think you did.
It's Lord of the Rings anniversary release date. If you celebrate.
The most stressful week of the year is rapidly approaching.
How are you celebrating it?
I'm not. But it's just a weird little piece of trivia that comes in my head every time I see December 18th.
Not much of a fan, are you?
Well, I'll probably rewatch it soon.
Well, here's a man who has some excellent advice for you if you're having a tough time, because he knows what it feels like to be in financial dire straits, right? I mean, he just lost his job.
Former Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger calls for prayer and fasting for employees.
Didn't he just get a $10 million golden parachute?
Yeah.
I mean, with inflation, though, right? He's barely making it. I would encourage him to extend his fasting indefinitely.
It's gonna be tricky to do.
But not before meeting with his lawyer to make sure that $10 million actually goes to charity.
And over in India, they are getting Amazon services that we didn't get first. And I don't like it. We need this.
Amazon pilots quick commerce service in India. I'm sure that we have a fairly good-sized audience in India. Hello, welcome. I'm sure that they'll tell us on the mobile phone ordering thing. This blew my mind. The local 7-Elevens or whatever the local term is for it is, like if you're a regular customer there, you could do that already. Like your local supplier, you could say, hey, bring me some stuff like groceries plus a food plus, you got the sandwich shop in the back and that's my stuff for the week. And they would do that. And you could get it in 15 minutes, which is crazy. And so Amazon's saying, yeah, we're going to do that too.
So it's certain markets, obviously, probably some very high density places, but still 15 minutes is impressive. With that traffic, is it going to be drones? I think it's going to be drones, right?
Right now, it's just done with people. Because, about every 3 city blocks, you've got another 7-Eleven. So it's just like, I'm going to go to my local 7-Eleven. You don't need to go to the 7-Eleven 3 blocks away. Here in America, if we had stuff like that, it would be like, oh, no, don't go to that diner. You got to go to the other diner. Only Marge can make the proper biscuits. I don't know if they have that in India.
Well, some people aren't celebrating Lord of the Rings properly.
Yeah.
Other people are by, of course, bringing the spirit of Tolkien into the modern world.
The Register's headline is, we can't make this stuff up. Palantir and Anduril form a fellowship for AI adventures. And what I was trying to say there was part of this is also related to the story that we covered in government, where something is going on in Jersey and like defense contractors are getting together. And so these companies want to combine their AI and drone capabilities to be able to do some really interesting stuff.
Interesting. Is that the word you're using? Pure evil could be a way of describing
we
it.
probably shouldn't build, like there's all these books and literature about building the cage that we're all going to be forced to live in. Like we probably shouldn't do that.
Are you saying the peoples of Middle Earth should unite against?
We also have a company called Sauron that they talk about here, but I'm fairly confident that I have something about that in another section.
You had a much better story. I read about that, and it was like a disjointed mess, and then finally somebody actually did a good write-up on Sauron, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. Sauron is the private citizen version of this, which will be available to you in a handy software and hardware package.
And we know that data centers are going to be everywhere, and the power situation is a big problem, but that's not the only big problem. Microsoft claims to have the solution for the other one.
Microsoft unveils its zero-water data centers to reduce AI climate impact. Instead of water, they're going to use glycol.
Well, it's going to be closed loop. I don't know if it's all going to be glycol, but they might have some mold issues.
Yeah.
Little algae in there.
No, it's fine.
I guess
It's more green.
If you keep it completely in the dark, that would probably help a lot with that, right?
And you go industrial sterilization.
I bet they'll use the stuff that Disney uses. Bromine,
yeah.
Brominated glycol. Oh, yeah.
I think they put that in Mountain Dew. And Google had a big headline, and they're claiming a lot. There are still some caveats here, but this could be revolutionary.
The Tom's Hardware headline is, Google claims its new Willow quantum chip can swiftly solve a problem that would take a standard supercomputer 10 septillion years. I read this. I don't really, IBM already has quantum computers that are more qubits. I didn't really. This was picked up everywhere, and it's like, oh, this proves parallel universes. Like, I don't think that does it. It's not a thing.
Well, they did say that their error correction is a lot better. 105 qubits. Here's the thing, though. They just blew this benchmark out of the water. This benchmark that was created by Google.
The benchmark doesn't. Does the benchmark do anything useful computationally? I have my doubts. Engage below.
And we talked about the Battle Mage last week. It seemed like everybody likes it, but will it be commercially successful?
The headline is new Intel B850 or 580 receives positive reviews on pre-launch, but timing could be its downfall. It has launched now. You can buy it. And generally, it lives up to Intel's promises, which is kind of shocking. So if you want a 1440p gaming card that's $250 to $270 for the AIB models, it is the best choice in the market right now, all things considered. But AMD and NVIDIA are getting ready to release another generation of cards, which could change the equation again.
That's probably not going to save Intel. Their problems are maybe a little too big for one nice piece of hardware to turn things around. And they're starting to look at some drastic options.
The Reuters headline is Intel executives say manufacturing spinoff is possible. This is probably why Pat Gelsinger he's like, no, we have to keep it together. And the board really does not want that.
It's weird because didn't we just give them a ton of money for manufacturing?
Yeah.
What happens to that?
Also, how wild is it that at the end of 2024, the Intel CPU is undesirable, but the Intel GPU is where you want to be, and like a good middle of the road gaming system is the budget AMD CPU with the budget Intel GPU? Like, I did not have that on my predictions card for this year at all.
Well, think how terrible next year is going to be.
What do you think that surprise will be?
Well, I don't even want to speculate.
We're back to the abacus.
NVIDIA groceries. And the Wall Street Journal, they've looked at Intel's situation and they said, let's just kick them while they're down. Let's just make an article that compares them to a smaller company to punish them.
The Wall Street Journal headline is Meet the small AI chip maker that's now more valuable than Intel. They're talking about Marvell. And Marvell has some really amazing stuff. There's some new Ubiquity gear, 100 gigabit that I have in the lab that is based on Marvell's 100 gig chipset, which is amazing because before now it was, well, not even before now, but Broadcom was kind of dominating the interconnects here. And Broadcom has been real. I get why Broadcom is the way that they are. Broadcom wants a lot of money. But Marvell's coming out swinging with all this cool stuff. Also, Uber is worth more than Intel, which I think is a crime against humanity. Something has gone, like, what sort of mind virus exists in Wall Street that Uber is worth more than Intel? Like, if you bought Intel and sold all of the stuff that Intel has, you would get more than the share price out of it, versus Uber, which has nothing of value.
Well, one man that does have value is Elon Musk, and his vision of a future where he controls space is coming along nicely.
Starlink's first constellation of direct-to-phone satellites is now in orbit.
Now, that's going to get you, at best, 10 megabit. So it's not setting the world on fire. But they've only got one set up there, and he claims it's going to get way better as they continue.
Text messages in an emergency situation. It is also not designed for use in population-dense areas. This is designed for rural areas where there might be 3 people on their cell phone in a 50 square mile area.
Well, as you go into the Christmas season, just ask yourself, as you're unboxing all of your goods, how much of this do I really own? Because, you know,
it's depressing, isn't it?
If you're giving your kids those App Store gift cards or maybe some Steam gifts, well, guess what? You don't own any of it. Netflix gift cards? No, there's no ownership there. And here is one more nail in that coffin.
LG has stopped making Blu-ray players, marking the end of an era. Limited units remain while the inventory lasts. Digital streaming is displacing. This is not good because it means digital streaming is also displacing ownership. This is you will own nothing and be happy. We have to, if there is only one message you take away from Level 1 in 2024, it is we have to reassert our property rights. They're eroding our property rights. We're not going to be able to, there's not going to be a mechanism by which you can own things.
And I know we don't usually do the pie in the sky technology stuff, but this one was interesting. I'm not going to claim to understand it completely, but could it revolutionize everything? Probably not.
The Financial Times headline is New Magnetic Flow has potential to revolutionize electronic devices. basically we can control and manipulate magnetic fields without actually using materials that are themselves magnetic, which means that it moves faster.
Alter magnetism is the key word here. So ferrous materials rotate the electrons one way, non-ferrous materials rotate the electrons the other way. This stuff can rotate the wrong way, but still be magnetic.
It's like they changed the orientation of the atoms.
This is going to set ICP back so far.
They're going to have to relearn
Everything they knew about magnets.
It's crazy, though, because this was only discovered in 2020, and already in 2024, it's like, oh, there's 1 million commercial applications for this. So it's potentially very promising.
Well, once again, let's remember a time when we were told that AI would not be used for military purposes. It would not take human life. And how
It won't
quickly...
take human jobs.
Well, in a roundabout way, but we were talking about, like, firing ordnance at you. It's like, that's not going to happen. Well, guess what?
Palantir EVP, modern war cannot be won without software. And you really should check out the videos for their software because it is incredible. You should also check out the drone shows. Like, there are drone light shows. And if you just use a little bit of imagination, if like you're drawing a giant dragon in the sky, that could also be death machines raining down death in a grid pattern on everything below so that nothing survives. It's really not a lot different from a software standpoint.
And this is such a burgeoning technological field that they're now getting a trade show. And it's not guaranteed to be annual yet, but they're like, yeah, we think this is going to be annual.
The videos of that, like the nighttime videos are impressive, but the daytime videos where they're doing the software tests, it's like, here's a grid of 16 by 32 drones, and they're just taking off in columns, and they're controlled in software by columns. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
It's also incredible how far Microsoft will push their poor users and abuse them and take away things they like to give them things that no one wants.
Microsoft hijacks your keyboard shortcut to bring Copilot to your attention. Alt+Space. They're taking Alt+Space. And they said that, whatever program launches first gets Alt+Space. And guess what is built into the operating system? Copilot. So, yeah. I use Alt+Space because I used to be able to use Control-Escape and then I could start typing. But now you can't hit Control-Escape and start typing. You have to do Control-Escape and then you have to wait for the start menu to do its thing because it takes an indeterminate amount of time to appear. And if you just hit Control-Escape and start typing within like 100 milliseconds, it misses keys. And that is one of the most infuriating user interface design patterns ever, whereas the Windows Power Toy Alt+Space hasn't missed a key yet. And now they're taking that from me? No. I will not have this.
You will, though.
What about it?
Because we have to use it sometimes.
I'm going to
for certain
abandon
projects.
Windows entirely. Just all Linux all the time.
Well, the WordPress drama has intensified, and there have been some decisions made, but I don't think this is going to be the end of it.
The Verge headline is WordPress parent company must stop blocking WP Engine judge rules. This is amazing. Matt Mullenweg has, if you're not read in on the drama, you really got to go get read in on the drama.
So
But
much.
if you were using ACF and you notice that ACF has been replaced by something else, this probably opens the door for a class action lawsuit. A law firm could descend upon Matt Mullenweg and probably collect a lot of money from him because they took WP Engine's spot, for lack of a better way to describe it, on WordPress.org and replaced it with their own thing, which also replaced it in your installation of WordPress if you were using ACF. And that was interfering with WP Engine's business. And the judge seems inclined to rule that way, which is bad news for Automatic.
He took it poorly. Oh, I didn't get those in a row. What am I doing here? Oh. No, it was fine. I got it right.
WordPress CEO rage quits community Slack after court injunction. Yeah.
Like Wendell getting killed by wolves one too many times in Vintage Story. He rage quit.
Oh, that time I lost all my 10 bronze stuff to the detritus of the forest. I was very unhappy about that.
It gives you a death marker, but I think it changes every time you die, right?
Yeah, it doesn't persist.
I missorted this one as well. It's another angry Microsoft story. We could have covered it right after the other one. But this should surprise no one.
Microsoft recalls screenshots, credit cards, and social security numbers, even with the sensitive information filter enabled. Yeah.
Surprise.
Microsoft added a thing to the operating system to be like, I'm showing sensitive information to try to signal Copilot to like not take pictures of that or other software. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Now, it does catch it on a web form that has a proper credit card input. But this person also tried it in a text document, which they labeled credit card numbers, and then pasted it, and the recall was like, yep, I got it. Don't worry. Took a picture of that.
Ugh.
And if you are looking to buy a car, it seems that people really do like the whole Tesla don't make me talk to car dealers thing, because people don't like talking to car dealers, and Amazon says yes.
Amazon is officially in the online car sales business. Yeah, I mean, people that want to sell you a car genuinely want to get as much money out of you as possible without you feeling like you get ripped off, but they were always willing to take less money.
Well, let's be clear. So does Amazon.
Yeah. I'm imagining, like, you know, you go and grab your Amazon card, but it's like, who makes this car? And it's just gibberish. And then a week later, you go to look them up again, and it's gone.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to my Ivanki ride. That'll be great.
Well, right now, it's only going to be Hyundai. So you won't get that quite yet.
Yeah, they'll just, every time they get a lot of complaints, they'll just change the name.
Yeah, easy.
Amazon will also deal with your trade-in, which is interesting.
Is that going to be like the Cash for Homes thing? Because that's a ripoff.
Well, so is trading into a dealership. I mean, it's just kind of trading one for the other, right? And speaking of ripoffs,
YouTube TV has hiked its price by $10 to $82.99. That is a, what was it, 180% increase in the last 5 years? $100 a month seems like a lot for YouTube TV, like a lot.
but I knew a lot of people that would pay like $150 a month for cable, and that always just blew my mind.
That seems like a lot.
Now I'm here paying $125 for fiber internet.
Yeah.
But it's so much more stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and we need it for work, too. It's not like we're just doing that for entertainment.
I remember when fiber came to town, and it was, I think I was paying like $125 or $130, but it was like all internet, and it was like $8 for the TV, and I was like, I don't want the TV. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think there was a bundle where they're like, if you can save like $20 if you take TV for 6 months, but then it'll auto renew. And I was like, no, not even interested.
Oh, they also were perfected the scam with phone lines, because you could get a subsidy if you had a phone line, because like, look, we're providing phones in a rural area. And so they would literally like give you the phone functionality, or charge like the plan with the phone costs $5 less than all the other plans, so they could get the $20 of federal money, which seems like a crime to me, but okay.
And while the Chinese are in our telecoms, they are also in some phones. But these appear to be not so much our phones as their own people's phones, or is it diaspora? I always said diaspora, but I think it's diaspora.
I'm sure the comments will correct us.
Yeah, either whichever one you use.
Even if there's regional pronunciations.
But yeah, so if you used to live in China and you bought yourself an Android phone and you went somewhere else, you might need to look for this.
Researchers uncovered Chinese spyware used to target Android devices. Spoiler alert, it's another piece of malware that could have been avoided by a better security posture and architecture in Android, such as virtualizing all of the client applications.
Eagle Message Spy, which, boy, does this have a lot of functionality.
It includes call logs, contacts, GPS coordinates, bookmarks, and messages from third-party apps, including Telegram and WhatsApp.
Oh, the final one's the big one.
Eagle Message Spy is also capable of initiating screen recordings of the smartphone and can capture audio recordings of the device when it's in use.
Feature packed.
That sounds like a despotic empire starter kit.
Oh, yes. Here is the new... Krista, how do you like the redesign of the Eye of Sauron? You're going to be seeing a lot of them.
They get a better picture of it later, further on down.
Actually, you probably live in a much too poor neighborhood.
Yeah.
Fearful of crime, the tech elite transform their homes into military bunkers. So the article talks about how traditional alarm systems are not smart enough. And so this is...
It looks like a Glade plugin.
It's thermal and infrared as well as camera. But it makes a 3D map of your home, and it shows you where the bad guy is. So if you've ever ridden in like a Tesla and it's got like the little computer generated model of all of the vehicles.
It's a LiDAR, but for people in your house.
Yeah, well, outside your house and around it and stuff too. It's like, oh, the gardener is here, but it's 10 o'clock p.m. and they've approached the house, but they haven't set off any of the other stuff. We should escalate. And that obviously gives first responders and like 911 a lot more information than, the alarm's going off, because they don't really pay attention to, the alarm's going off. Somebody has set it off accidentally.
I'm imagining one of those like alarm commercials where the person comes close to the house and they've got the ski mask and the black turtleneck and stuff. But in the future, it's just going to be that commercial, but it's someone covered in banana stickers.
Well, remember the story we did about the Ring doorbell where the guy dressed up as a garbage bag and he's just inched closer to the porch until he can grab the
stuff
package.
so it wouldn't flag him.
Yeah.
There's going to be weird costumes for that if you're a thief now.
I don't think that would defeat this thing.
Well, there is no way to defeat the surveillance state other than just bitter, angry outrage, and that probably is only going to delay it for a little while.
Boeing has canceled its workplace surveillance program and is going to remove the sensors. It turns out that wasn't good for morale, and Boeing needs a little bit better morale right now if they're going to turn things around.
Camera, LiDAR, thermal, and motion, all built into one unit, looking at you all day long. Now, Boeing said, that's just so we can decide how much office space we need, and we can, it's good for the
We can't
environment.
just look at it on an Excel spreadsheet to see how many employees we have.
How much work are you doing based on how many calories you're burning? The new hot Fortune 500 metric.
And here's a little bit of bad news coming into the holidays. We always have this.
Christmas at risk as millions of Americans have their credit card details leaked. 5 million records exposed Amazon S3 bucket. This story has it all.
Except an explanation of where it came from. We're not sure yet. Somebody knows.
The Amazon security team noticed unusual traffic to this bucket, apparently, and has shut it down.
And always remember that no matter what you do, if you drive a car, you're driving past cameras that are looking at your license plate, and they know everything about you, and they're collecting everything about you just in case the Chinese or our law enforcement wants to look it up.
The Ars Technica headline is Location Data Firm Helps Police Find Out When Suspects Visited Their Doctor. Now, all of the quotes in it, you should read this because the quotes are amazingly dystopian. All of the quotes from law, they know what they're doing, but all of the law enforcement and prosecutor quotes are saying, we need this data to exclude possible suspects from the place where a crime happened. It's like, what?
I think the reason they want your doctor visits is because they're guaranteed that that's someplace they can grab you if you got a warrant for your arrest. Also, this is fog data science, and it's interesting because Ars Technica in this article talks about gravy analytics, we talked about last week, who are going to be banned from this kind of thing. Clearly, that is a vacuum that will be filled rapidly as you get rid of them because fog is different than gravy.
Also, I really liked Fog's quote here. It's like, don't worry, we don't have any data that's more than 3 years old. And it's like,
Yeah, because you've only been at it for 3 years.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know where I can get that 3-year-old data? From gravy.
yeah. So we need to know where you were so that we can find where you buried a body. And it's like, these are the only places that would be appropriate to bury a body. Here you go. It's like, we solved the crime. We've invaded the privacy of millions of people, but we solved the crime.
It's a sad state, chat. We will see you guys in the next one for some nonsense to lighten the mood.
So much nonsense.